So today I think I wanted to talk about, as an EV user, some safeguarding tips about charging now that the monsoon is approaching. And if you are a first time EV buyer, or you just have an EV at home, and in a country like Nepal where not too long ago voltage would fluctuate, load shedding would happen, and can still happen, by the way. I know we take a lot of pride in the fact that we produce our own electricity and we are good consumers of all of that, but let's not forget the fact that power failures can happen anywhere. Even in Western developed countries like America, there are blackouts. A quick Google will tell you that. And on top of that, having an EV means you're just charging a big cell phone, iPhone at home. And so when there are voltage fluctuations, power cuts, you just want to be on the safer side when charging your EV, especially if it's done overnight when you are asleep and without any supervision. Like, I don't mean you necessarily need to supervise your EV charging during the daytime too, but it's always good to be a bit on the safer side. So again, your EV socket, or like wherever you plug in, the charger is rated anywhere between 2 to 3.3 kilowatts. I'm talking about a granny slow charger, but I'll also later on add faster AC charger options, because I primarily use a granny slow charger at home. The thing is, this socket, unlike your microwave oven or your toaster or your kettle that draws 2000 watts, again, like if you read the label, your kettle will only draw that amount of power for, like, I don't know, 2 minutes tops before the water boils. Or if you're using a electronic stove, maybe half an hour, and then you again turn it off, like, right? However, your EV charger is going to be drawing 2000 watts non-stop from the moment you plug it in until the morning of your, I don't know, exit from home. So like, I'm talking about a good 8 hours, 10 hours, 12 hours. And the thing with EV chargers is that they will constantly be pulling 2000 watts of power, electricity from, yeah, I don't like areas without too much of street light, because that puts a lot of glare on the eye, stress on the eye, and you just need to be out on the lookout for pedestrians crossing the road, because you can't see them properly unless they're wearing something reflective or bright. Anyway, the thing about that is you then have to just keep in mind that it's 2000 watts for like 8 hours non-stop, which means the electric outlet, the charger itself, the wiring, they're all going to heat up. Like, resistance is going to build up, and as a result, there's just no way around that. You just have heat as a production of all that electricity flow happening. And so what I wanted to stress was the fact that when you do install, or when you plug in your EV to a wall socket at home or wherever, just be wary of the fact that they should be of high durability, and high durability in the sense that they don't melt away, the wiring inside isn't like loose and fidgety that sparks could be produced. You know what I'm talking about? Like proper A-grade material, maybe even ceramic sockets, because those don't heat at all. And that's just your first layer of like precaution you can put. The second layer of precaution is, again, voltage fluctuations can happen. Then you definitely want to install some sort of short circuit breaker, voltage guard, some sort of fuse, anything that can immediately shut off in the circumstance that there is some sort of fluctuation going on. I do not know what is happening here with this micro. Okay, so yeah, you just want that one extra layer. I know all the EV chargers that are sold with cars or even bought secondhand, third party I mean, have a fuse in it that just blows up every time voltage fluctuates or like goes too down. The circuit just breaks to like save the device. But one more layer like on the wall, it wouldn't hurt. It's a short one-time investment that can protect you. And then the other layer then I'm also thinking about is having a grounded circuit, in the sense you make sure that the socket you're using has a neutral wire. Like there's a live wire, there's a neutral wire, and then there's a third wire for like it being grounded, a wire that goes into the ground somewhere to reduce electrocution. And so as a result of all of this, you are to some extent safeguarding your EV when charging, not just during the dry, but especially during the monsoon when water can happen. And here's a pro tip: the socket on the wall is not waterproof, unlike the plug into your car. The plug into your car is waterproof, weather resistant. It can sustain hail, it can sustain rain, it can sustain a storm, whatever. That is waterproof. You don't need to worry about the socket that goes into your car, the plug, the gun. You do need to keep in mind the socket that connects to your wall though, because that socket is not waterproof at all, unfortunately. And so just make sure, if your charging station like mine is outdoors, that there is some sort of infrastructure put in place that stops the socket itself from getting wet and any short circuiting happening. And yeah, I think for a country like Nepal, if these certain measures are just put in place, then your vehicle should be safe. And here are now the don'ts of like, don't do this when you charge an EV. Don't use an extension cord is my first tip. Like, I know those extension cords say that they can handle up to like 2,000, 3,000, even 5,000 watts these days, but no, don't depend on that, because they're small units. And again, as I mentioned earlier in the video, 8 hours of non-stop 2,000 watts, 3,000 watts, that's going to really heat up the extension cord. So please just avoid it at all costs, and I think it'll be safe. So yeah, I think that concludes my thoughts. Anyway, if you have other safety tips in mind, just let me know with a comment down below, and I will see you on the next one.